Welcome to Jon Bowne Politix number 37. I'll be talking with Dan Bidondi about the empty hospitals up in the Northeast, Bible prophecy, and the recent UFO footage released by the Navy, followed by a smattering of current madness, including the City Council of San Antonio, Texas, disregarding the Bill of Rights and attacking free speech, Joe Biden's sexual assault clown show, and the vulnerability of the American healthcare system in the event that China pulls the embargo rug out from under the United States. But first, Dan Bidondi, a.k.a. the Kraken, hosts the Truth Radio Show on WBOB 990 and at truthradioshow.com. Thanks for joining me, Dan. I haven't seen a whole lot of protests going on in the Northeast. What can you tell us about that?
New York was doing, my buddy runs one in New York, and I did one 2 weeks ago. And last week, because we got rained out, whatever. So we have a big one coming up on Monday. Monday is a huge one coming up here in Rhode Island, because May 8th, the governor's supposed to move to phase 2, but regardless, we're having a huge protest on the 11th there, which is Monday.
And that area is, it's, live free or die country. So do you feel like the majority is against the limitations to your freedom, or is there enough of a liberal minority or majority there?
Yeah, right now it's half and half in Rhode Island, man. Like, you got half that kiss her butt, and the other half is like, yeah, well, I don't think so. You know what I mean? So, and she's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. She's good friends with the Clintons, and she was the governor, the only governor of Rhode Island that I know of, that when she ran for office, she had both Obamas and both Clintons come down, even acknowledgement from the Pope, the progressive Pope Francis there.
Do you feel like your rights as a protester are being squelched?
No, surprisingly, man, well, forever the state police here in Rhode Island and the Capitol Police, most of them don't like the governor. They can't stand her, but they can't say that. You know what I mean? I talk to them all the time, and even though the governor's orders for everybody to stay in, social distance and everything, at the last rally 2 weeks ago, one of the police officers came over and said, listen, it's like, if you have any problems with anybody, come get us. And they stood over to the side, didn't even say two words to any protesters. They let us do our thing, and we left. There was not one problem from the police at all. And the same thing when we have the against the anti-gunners, when we have a pro-Second Amendment rallies, almost every cop in there supports us. You know what I mean? But they can't say that because that colonel of the state police, he kisses the governor's ass. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? For the most part, our state police are pretty good.
What do you foresee in Rhode Island for support of President Trump in the next election?
His support's getting huge in Rhode Island, man. Even though it's a liberal state, and we got, the east side of Rhode Island, predominantly Democrat, but the entire western side is all Trump, and a lot of the south is all Trump. And so even though the major cities, just say, all the major populated cities like Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, they're, predominantly Democratic cities, but all the rest of the state, the rural areas, all Trump all the way.
Yeah. Is there anything that's been on your plate lately you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work, man. I got my own show, the Nightly News with Dan Bidondi, then the Dan Bidondi Show, where we cover deep, detailed stuff like the Illuminati, secret societies, all that. And the Nightly News, we cover a tiny bit of that and a lot of biblical stuff, too, and mostly the news, you know what I mean? And then I've been working with my buddies at 9C TV, been doing shows with them. They've been doing shows with me, cross-promotion each other, and it's been great, man. And I've been, like, mad busy with these shows and everything, doing interviews and going on other people's shows. And, it's been fun, man. Just getting the word out everywhere we can, every platform we can, and just trying to wake people up to the truth.
Did you see that latest U.S. Navy release of that UFO footage?
Yeah, I did a story on that, too.
Okay, yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. It tied in with the Nephilim and everything, you know what I mean, with the Days of Noah and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like
Well, yeah, tell us a little bit about the Nephilim.
Well, the Nephilim, if you go to Genesis chapter 6, and you want further detail, if you go to Enoch chapter 6, and was it Jasher, the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, and other parts of the Bible, like Ezekiel and all that, it describes what these things are. And basically, the sons of Adam, which was Cain and Abel, and Abel was killed in Cain and Seth. So the bloodlines of Cain was his son. The first Enoch was the evil Enoch, and that bloodline there, they were completely evil people on this planet, the great builders at the time and all that. So when the fallen angels came upon descended upon Mount Hermon, they intermingled with the people on the planet and taught them all the sacred sciences and everything else, and taught them how to do certain things. And the ancients, this is where ancient, what they call Greek mythology, which is no mythology at all, except for they weren't gods. The Greeks thought they were gods, and all the ancient cultures. If you want to remove the Bible side, all the ancient cultures have this
the age of the men of the age of the men of renown.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Nephilim, the Watchers, the men of renown. They had many, many different names with different cultures, and they did help them a lot, bundle a lot, building great cities and doing all this distortion, on the perverted side, distorting mankind, creating this race of humans and hybrids and stuff that you could even, the movie 300. Stuff like that, that you would think it was just mythology, but all the ancient cultures talk about this, man, and they were doing human hybrid back then, cross DNA with animals and plants and humans, and it was a genetic mess, and that's when God had to flood the earth to get rid of most of them, and there was a Nephilim after the point too, when he sent Joshua out to kill a lot of these Nephilim kings and everything. So it just goes on from there. And, these things are great intelligence. They're, and the Bible says, Revelation chapter 16 talks about them appearing once again in the end times, out of the mouth of the dragon, which is Satan, out of the mouth of the beast, which is the Antichrist, and out of the mouth of the false prophet will reveal 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs to the world. And what that means is through the authority, because at the time Satan could have complete authority of this planet, he's through his authority, through the Antichrist and through the false prophet, they're going to show the whole world we're not alone. And look what's going on today. That's because if you notice over the years, right, everything's UFO apocalyptic movies.
Yeah.
So they've been brainwashing them slowly, by increment steps, getting people used to the idea that we're not alone. You had the Vatican in 2010, I think it was, or 12. They had the University of Arizona build a telescope called Lucifer. They said it has nothing to do with Lucifer, but that's an amazing coincidence if you ask me. And they even said, the Pope Francis said, we'll baptize alien life if they ask him to. So you got all this interest, millions of dollars, and you have the United Nations pushing a seat called a space ambassador. And that job, the space ambassador's job, is to greet alien life. This is real stuff, man. And so you're getting the whole world setting up for this one big encounter. And what they are is they either unclean spirits or these genetic creations of the Nephilim, because the Nephilim, they were the fallen angels. And what they did was they had sex with the women on the earth and created this race of giants. Either giants or people of genetically superiority compared to the average human being, men of renown and all that. And also they mingled with other flesh. The Bible talks about and created these weird, odd-looking, like reptilians, whatever you want to call them, these type of creatures out there. And again, very intelligent and all that. And it was a genetic mess before the flood and a little bit after too. And it says, like Jesus says, before he descended off Mount Olives, he said, "As the days of Noah, so shall be like that in the latter days before it was coming." And we're starting to see that, man. Now the green and singular technology is taken off. They admit we could clone your cat. They admit they could crossbreed an animal with a human now. I mean, it's all admittance now. And it's nothing new under the sun because they were doing that back then, you know what I mean? And you even had a fallen angels, man, with one named Casada. He was the 6th chief fallen angel. His name was Casada. And he taught man how to attack the embryo in the womb, i.e. abortion, you know what I mean? So you got these, and they all had certain tasks to teach humans certain things, making jewelry, making weapons of war, building. Now Enoch, the first Enoch was the evil one. That was Cain's son. Cain, Enoch, and his later ancestor.
So and the second Enoch is the one that's taken up and shown the face of God. Right.
Well, I got the book where you have Enoch here. The second Enoch, he came later on. He was Noah's great grandfather.
Okay, yeah, and he's the one that's taken up into heaven and shown
Yep.
the face of God, and he can't look at it. It's nothing. It's sparks. It's lightning and
Yep.
power, and then he comes back, and he tells everybody, his family and everybody else, what had happened to him, and then they come back, pick him up, and he's gone for good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And him and Elijah are the only two people in the Bible that we know of so far that were taken up. You know what I mean? And so, like a lot of churches, the mainstream churches, they'll deny this. Don't listen to that. It's not biblical. But here's the thing: Genesis, I think it's Joshua, several passages throughout the Bible glorify Enoch, even reference his book. But then it's like, why isn't this book in the Bible?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the churches can't understand that. And I was like, well, here's the thing. Besides Elijah, Enoch was taken up by God. You got to be somebody of importance to be raptured by God. Two people in history. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of validity to this book. You know what I mean? And you look in the history books too. It validates and it doesn't contradict the Bible at all. It actually matches a lot of the stories and also ancient history as well. I mean, it's incredible. But his I don't know if it wasn't related to him, but he was the other Enoch there. He was a mastermind, him, and they helped build the great city of Egypt and all that, the ancient city of Egypt on. And they were great builders, and they built these giant cities, yes. But what they did is with the corruption of the flesh, it was them kind and all that with the fallen angels, really creating this biological mess of these Nephilim-type creatures and other humans and men of renown. And these things were very barbaric. And, they wanted to build this great kingdom. That's where the Tower of Babel came afterwards, after the flood. Because the Bible says there was Nephilim before the flood and some after the flood. And eventually that's where Nimrod came from. He was, and nobody understood because he came from the bloodline of Shem and all that, but something happened to him that he actually became a giant and he became corrupted and a mighty hunter. You know what I mean? And he helped him and Peleg built the Tower of Babylon and all that. And they
Nimrod.
Great.
Yeah,
yep.
And all the hieroglyphs show him as a giant.
Yeah. And he was a mighty hunter and a great builder, but he was very corrupt too. And he wanted to build this great kingdom. That's why they built these great cities over the years. And the thing is, with their symbology, their knowledge, what they did is before the flood came, they preserved all the knowledge in these underground vaults. And so after the flood, they came, they found the vaults again to, give that knowledge back to the people there. And that's where Nimrod and one of his builders, Peleg, they call him, and they helped create the, Tower of Babel. And, they wanted to build a tower into heaven. And that was their goal. And they were going to build one giant earthly kingdom that was going to defy God. And, they had Nephilim back then, too. And, and these Nephilim kings through these cities and all that. Just very barbaric what they were doing to humanity, and just like it was such a genetic mess, man. And so today, what they want to do is they want to cause this great deception, because they got proof they were here through the ancient times. That's documented through all the ancient cultures and everything else. So now they got their footprint stamped in all of history. Now even the History Channel, if you notice, right, they've done away with the evolution theory. Now, what's the number one show on the History Channel is Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
They're indoctrinating this type of, the movie The Knowing, this type of New Age philosophy, teaching people that they are our creators and everything else. They were here in the beginning and all that, which some of it's true, but they're not our creators. And so they use all this to show, hey, this stuff is real. And so, again, it indoctrinates the public. So when they come in these latter times, they're going to say, we did all this, and people are going to know this now, and they're going to be glorified as our saviors, our creators, and everything else, and it's going to cause a massive deception. Now, the churches say, the mainstream churches, if you even ask about something like that, they're like, oh, it doesn't say it in the Bible, when it does say it in the Bible. But a lot of Christians are going to take the Bible and throw it, because when they see these things in the sky, man, these great wonders and all that, they're like, what the hell? Our church never taught us that, when it's been in the Bible the whole time, you know what I mean? And that's going to cause a great deception, and people are going to embrace what they're going to bring to us, which is already here now. They already got the framework set up. The UN adopted Pope Francis's ecumenical movement as a one-world religion. So these things are going to embrace that. We need a one-world religion, one-world government, one-world currency. Now, if you notice all this thing with ID2020.org, all this stuff is already here set up. It's already here, and they're already playing with the public to see what they would react to it. So when these things come, they're going to jam it down because there's going to be wars and everything else. They're going to come, stop all this stuff, and jam it all in our faces. And at that time, most of the people are going to accept it because there's going to be so much chaos going on. Everybody's going to willingly accept the New World Order. So now what's going on with Bill Gates and all that, they're slowly seeing how far they can push things. Look at the first model. They project 65 million people to die. We're not even at 100,000 legitly, you know what I mean? And it's not even bad. The flu's worse, malaria is worse, cancer, people dying from smoking. This one, January 1st to May 1st, you know what I mean? And it's still at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to list of deaths and all that. So they failed. And now that, the vaccine thing, everybody's trying to push it. And, if you look at most people are telling you, I'm not taking no damn vaccine. I'm not going to put a damn chip inside of me.
Right, and which Bill Gates has a patent for. I mean, he has the 666 patent where he puts a chip in you. I mean, the whole plan is just sitting there. They're kind of just lollygagging around it and being vague about it, and yet we can totally see what they're planning. And, in league with the 5G and all that, the whole system. And they're fools. And the only thing that is even keeping any of their plans alive is censoring people like you and me that are trying to talk about this at the very least and get the truth out. And, once people hear the truth, they can take it, they can take the red or the blue pill and, use their own mind to come to their own conclusions. So they're not going to ever be able to stop people from thinking and using the truth. And everyone has their own perspective. Everyone looks at the truth, and that's fine. That's what the truth is all about. I'm not trying to talk anybody into anything. My mind is open. Your mind is open.
Oh, by the way, the verses, Revelation chapter 16, verse 13 and 14. About the three unclean spirits, and they work miracles into the world and gather them on that battle of the great day of God Almighty, which is Armageddon. So anybody wants to check that out, go read Revelation chapter 16. So it's very, and that's end times they're talking about. So very significant, and like you said too, you can formulate your own judgment from there, man, because regardless of which way we take the avenue, the New Age way, the Bible way, whatever, these things are here, and they're going to come to presence. And the government's openly admitting now, the Pope and these people are ready to push the New World on. And the thing is, like you said, too, their plans are falling. And the thing is with the elite, they try to push things ahead of time before God allows them to do it. So, and that's why they fail all the time. Plus, they backstab each other. So they only work together as long as the status quo is in their favor. But other than that, they backstab each other, and plus God doesn't allow certain things to happen. So, unless it's that time. So, but we know in the end, there's going to be a massive deception, and these aliens, or whatever you want to call them, they're going to be heavily involved in this great deception.
Dan from TruthRadioshow.com, Dan Bidondi, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again, Dan, for joining me.
Thank you, brother.
The local San Antonio News reported the tyrannical violation of free speech like it was business as usual.
San Antonio City Council unanimously passed a so-called anti-hate resolution regarding COVID-19. Deliberate use of terms like Chinese virus and Kung Fu virus encourages hate crimes against Asians and spreads misinformation.
While the liberal echo chamber reverberating around the San Antonio City Council was oblivious to the volcanic outrage, declaring, as San Antonio, Texas investigator reporter Jai Avila described on Twitter, resolution being voted on by San Antonio City Council this morning labels terms, quote, Chinese virus and, quote, Kung Fu virus as hate speech, and all persons are encouraged to report any such anti-Semitic, discriminatory, or racist incidents to the proper authorities for investigation. Anti-Semitic? Chinese virus? Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz lambasted the San Antonio City Council, saying, "This is nuts. San Antonio City Council behaving like a lefty college faculty lounge triggered by Chick-fil-A and the words Wuhan virus. If they want to investigate someone, start with the New York Times and CNN, who both repeatedly and rightly referred to it as the Chinese coronavirus." The measure was passed unanimously by the San Antonio City Council moments after Senator Cruz's tweet. Council member Manny Pelaez said during the voting process, "Hate speech is more dangerous than the virus itself." Actually, tyranny is far more dangerous than the virus itself, but even pointing that out may become the next criminal act, as the Rutherford Institute discovered after defending the right for pro-immigration consultant Evelyn Sinang Smith, who was charged with and convicted of violating an immigration statute making it a crime to encourage or induce an alien to reside in the U.S. in violation of the law. On appeal, she argued that she had not misled the workers and that statute's ban on encouraging another to stay in the country violates the First Amendment. Whichever side you may stand on the issue of immigration is moot, because in refusing to strike down an overly broad law criminalizing pro-immigration speech, the U.S. Supreme Court has now paved the way for the government to punish anyone engaging in so-called anti-government speech that encourages resistance to tyranny through civil disobedience. The Rutherford Institute, in conjunction with the ACLU and the Service Employees International Union, filed an amicus brief in the case, arguing that the statute is overbroad and could serve as a model for laws used to punish anyone who urges resistance to government tyranny.
I'm looking for that 5% that's willing to stand up. We're rapidly approaching that momentum point. America has not been sold out by Americans. America has been sold out by traitors, and we've sold out America in that we haven't punished traitors.
The rug is slowly being pulled out from under us. Is it not those with which we have entrusted with wielding the acumen of governance who are promoting their own hate speech toward the foundations of our individual freedoms?
Do your job! Do your job! Do your job!
Displays like the one that we saw at our Capitol is not representative of who we are in Michigan. There were swastikas and Confederate flags and nooses and people with assault rifles.
We're hearing a lot of reports around here, and I know I've seen some stuff going on statewide about neighbors reporting on other neighbors for not following the orders. I'm seeing a lot of rebellion out here against your orders, which have been called tyrannical, against local health department orders. Being equated to Nazism.
It's not a contest to see what you can get away with. It's a contest to see how well you can stay at home.
By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this.
Shouldn't they be held accountable to know the difference between the factual components of the First Amendment and the fallacies of their reliance on tyranny? Jon Bowne reporting. Hypothetically speaking, you wake up one day and China and the United States have elevated tensions in the South China Sea, Iran, North Korea, and the globalist combine have become a modern-day axis of evil, and now everything made in China is either under embargo or severely limited. Just how deep of a hole have we dug in the United States when it comes to the supply of necessities we need to survive? Most people don't realize that as much as 90% of the medicine they use comes from China, where pharmaceutical companies avoid U.S. regulations and benefit from lower production costs. China has become the world's largest producer of acetaminophen that's used in everything from Theraflu to Excedrin to Sudafed and beyond. And China is the world's largest producer of vitamin C, annually exporting more than 100,000 tons of it. How did America fall into such a deep decline? We can thank the Rockefellers, for one. John D. Rockefeller upended our healthcare system in the the early 20th century, the discovery of petrochemicals led to a vilification of the United States natural, nutritional, and holistic medicine system that was kicked to the curb to establish a pharmaceutical Goliath, shelling out patented synthetics that only treated symptoms rather than offering cures, while increasing the scope of Rockefeller and his robber baron cohorts' monopolies. Years later, David Rockefeller, in league with his globalist cronies, saw to the exportation of the pharmaceutical industry, leaving America completely defenseless in an unforeseen time of crisis.
The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident. When we are able to go about our business here in the Americas and around the world with confidence and security, it's because we know the strength of this government stands behind us. For that and for all your other contributions, we thank you very much.
Eric, can you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions?
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers. And the whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
And today, Bill Gates is using the old John D. Rockefeller method of problem, reaction, solution to con the American citizen into accepting a chip to monitor manufactured antibodies under a Microsoft 5G Big Brother technocracy.
I'd say it's ironic if you take somebody who's doing their best to get the world ready and, putting, in my case, billions of dollars into these tools for infectious diseases and really trying to solve broadly infectious diseases, including those that can cause pandemics. But that, we're in a crazy situation, so there's going to be crazy rumors.
It should have been a wake-up call as iconic American brands like Levi's, Radio Flyer, and even G.I. Joe were made in China. But on the bright side, perhaps a Chinese embargo would finally wake average Americans from their TV zombie slumber. Because we don't make televisions in the United States anymore either. Jon Bowne reporting. Thanks again for listening to Jon Bowne Politix. You can find us at Newsbound and Jon Bowne Politix on Twitter, at Jon Bowne Reports and Jon Bowne Politix on YouTube, band.video, and our home base at Daily News Collective, The Poor Man's Drudge Report, thanks to HC Universal Network. Good night, America, wherever you are.